The battlefield of Kurukshetra glowed under the morning sun, yet its beauty was swallowed by the shadow of war. Drums thundered, conch shells screamed into the sky, and the earth itself seemed to tremble under the weight of countless warriors. Rows upon rows of soldiers stood ready, their weapons gleaming, their eyes fixed with unyielding resolve. Chariots lined the field like golden serpents, elephants stamped their armored feet, and horses neighed in restless fury. In the heart of this dreadful scene, Arjuna stood upon his golden chariot. His armor gleamed, his Gandiva bow rested in his hand, and the banner of Hanuman danced above him in the rising wind. Yet within him there was no glory, no triumph, no fire of war. His eyes wandered across the battlefield, and what he saw pierced him deeper than any arrow could. Teachers who had guided him since childhood, uncles who had embraced him with love, cousins who had once played beside him, sons and nephews whose laughter had filled his ears, all now arrayed against him. They stood with weapons raised, ready to kill, ready to die, bound by duty to fight their own blood. His throat tightened, his chest burned, the weight of sorrow pressed upon him like a mountain. "Krishna," he whispered, turning to the one who held the reins of his chariot, the one who was more than friend, more than guide, more than mortal. "Madhusudana, what joy is there in this war? Even for sovereignty over the three worlds, I would not kill them. How much less for the sake of this earth? Look at them, fathers, sons, grandfathers, brothers, brothers-in-law, teachers, companions. How can I raise my hand against them? Even if they strike me down where I stand, I will not repay them with death." His voice broke, echoing across the chariot, drowned by the war cries that filled the air. The armies roared for blood, but Arjuna's heart cried only for peace. The Gandiva bow shook in Arjuna's hands, heavy as though it carried the sins of the world. He gripped it, but his fingers faltered, sweat dripping from his palms. The bowstring that had once sung with victory now felt like the chain of a curse. He gazed again upon the Kaurava lines. There stood Bhishma, the grandsire, his white beard flowing like a river of wisdom. There stood Drona, his master, the teacher who had carved his skill into perfection. Around them stood countless cousins and kin, their faces hard with determination, their hearts blind with duty. Arjuna's voice rose again, raw with pain. "Even if the heavens themselves were promised to me, even if Indra's throne were offered at my feet, I would not kill them. The sovereignty of the three worlds means nothing if bought with the blood of those who gave me life, who taught me love, who shaped my very soul. How can earth, how can gold, how can crowns weigh heavier than the bonds of family? Krishna, tell me, what is victory if the price is my own heart torn to shreds?" The wind carried his cry, but only Krishna's calm eyes met his turmoil. The divine charioteer did not speak, he waited, still as eternity itself, holding the reins of the white horses that pawed the ground in restless energy. Arjuna's limbs weakened, his shoulders drooped, the fire of the warrior dimmed within him, replaced by shadows of grief. His very soul whispered, "Better to die than to kill. Better to fall here, unarmed, unresisting, than to rule upon a throne stained with blood." The war drums thundered louder, but in Arjuna's heart there was silence, a silence filled with dread. He looked upon the ground, imagining it soaked in blood, the bodies of his kin scattered like fallen leaves. He saw wives wailing in grief, children orphaned, kingdoms broken into ash. "What joy will come of this?" he whispered. "Even if victory is ours, the feast will be poison, the songs will be curses, the throne will be a pyre. No, Krishna, I cannot. The world may call me coward, the world may spit upon my name, but I cannot lift this bow to strike down those I love. Let them slay me instead. Let them carve me down with their arrows. Let my body fall upon this soil, but I will not fight." The Gandiva slipped from his grasp. It struck the floor of the chariot with a sharp sound, final, like the breaking of destiny itself. His quiver spilled, arrows tumbling like dead stars across the polished wood. Arjuna's breath came ragged. His chest heaved, his hands shook, his vision blurred with tears. He could no longer hold back. The warrior who had never faltered in battle now trembled like a child lost in the dark. "Even for the heavens, I would not do it," he said again, his voice hoarse, his face pale. "What is the use of power when it demands the death of love. The golden chariot seemed like a cage. The battlefield around him stretched vast, endless, and terrifying. Yet Arjuna could not see its grandeur, for his eyes were clouded with sorrow. He sank to his knees, his armor heavy as chains, his spirit crushed beneath the weight of despair. The horses stamped, their nostrils flaring, their white coats shining in the sunday. They were ready for battle, eager to charge, but their master was broken. Arjuna pressed his palms against his face, tears burning his eyes. His voice cracked as he spoke, half to Krishna, half to himself. Is it not better to live without power than to rule upon bones? Is it not nobler to accept death than to stain my soul with the murder of kin? What kind of joy can sovereignty bring if the laughter of my family is silenced forever? The battlefield roared, conches blew, men shouted, steel clashed in the distance. But within Arjuna's chariot, there was stillness, the stillness of a man torn apart by love, by duty, by fear, by impossible choice. Krishna, he cried again, his voice desperate, pleading, tell me, what should I do? My mind reels, my heart is broken, my very body refuses to obey my will. I cannot, I will not kill them. The noise of war thundered around them, but Krishna did not answer. He held the reins steady, his face calm, his eyes deep as the sky. His silence was not emptiness, it was the weight of eternity waiting for the right moment. Arjuna's despair grew heavier. He thought of Bhishma's blessing hand upon his head as a child, of Drona's stern yet loving guidance, of cousins who had once laughed and played by his side before envy poisoned their bond. He thought of festivals, of weddings, of feasts, where the family had been whole, all of it now shattered by the cruelty of fate. Even if they strike me down unarmed, unresisting, it would be better than this, Arjuna whispered. His head bowed low, his voice choked with grief. Let them win, Krishna. Let them take the throne. Let them take the earth. Let them take everything. What is sovereignty compared to the loss of my soul? His bow lay at his feet, abandoned. His quiver was empty. His arms, once steady as mountains, now trembled like reeds in the storm. His emerald eyes, once blazing with courage, now glistened with tears. The great warrior Arjuna, conqueror of kings, stood defeated not by man, not by demons, but by his own heart. The world held its breath. The two armies faced each other, ready to unleash a storm of death. Yet in the heart of the battlefield, one man had already surrendered. Arjuna, the mightiest of the Pandavas, the hope of his brothers, the terror of his enemies, had fallen not in body, but in spirit. I will not fight, he said at last. The words fell heavy, final, like stones into a well. Even if sovereignty over the three worlds were laid before me, I would not kill them. How much less for this earth? Let them strike me down, let them end me, but I will not kill. He slumped upon the seat of his chariot, his shoulders bowed, his head lowered. His golden armor still gleamed, but the fire within it had gone dark. The Gandiva bow lay silent, the arrows still. Around him, the battlefield screamed with noise, the war drums, the horns, the cries of men and beasts. But for Arjuna, there was only silence. The silence of surrender, the silence of grief, the silence before a truth yet to be revealed. And there beside him stood Krishna, calm, unshaken, eternal. He held the reins of the white horses, his face serene, his eyes glowing with compassion and infinite wisdom. He waited, for the time had come when silence would give way to words that would shape the destiny of the world. The war had not yet begun, yet already it had taken its first victim, the will of Arjuna, the warrior who would not kill,